Welcome to Screw the Commute, the entrepreneurial podcast dedicated to getting you out of the car and into the money. With your host, lifelong entrepreneur and multimillionaire, Tom Antion.
Hey everybody, it's Tom here with episode 488 of Screw the Commute podcast. I'm here with Frank Manteau, and he's from crayonsreadytoeat.com. And when I first heard that, I'm thinking, man, kids are going to be eating crayons, and I was going to ask him about that, but I found out how he keeps that from happening, and he'll tell you about it. He comes from what he says is a small town. Well, I'm going to tell him it's twice the size of my hometown, which is still about 500 people, and we lived in the suburbs. So, but we still had friends, like his friend Hooter got him in the Marines, and he said, well, that was great. I could get a free haircut. So he's going to tell you all about all this stuff in a minute. And I hope you didn't miss episode 486. I'm skipping over my last episode to tell you about veteran Travis Johnson. Wow, did he have a tough childhood, even tougher than Frank's. 36 moves while he was in high school, 5 foster homes, and a sister and his mother both actually tried to kill him. But he turned it around, and he's doing great things for nonprofits that are doing great things for people. So we're real proud of him. And this is part of Vetpreneurs Week, month. September is Vetpreneurs Month, where people like me and everybody listen to the show, and we're trying to really thank the wonderful people that do so many things and sacrifice so much so that we can do what we're doing. So that's why I like to highlight them during September. All right, how'd you like me to send you big checks? Well, if you're in my affiliate program, you can make commissions anywhere from $8.50, which you can blow at Starbucks, or up to in excess of $5,000 for a speaking engagement, and everything in between. So you can make a pretty good living just referring my stuff, and we hardly ever get any returns because I take care of my customers. So it works out good for both of us. So if you're interested in that, email me at tom@screwthecommute.com, and we'll give you details. Now, pick up a copy of our automation ebook. It's free to everybody listening to the show. We charge $27 on the open market for it, but it's how I handled up to 150,000 subscribers and 65,000 customers without pulling my hair out, and I didn't get carpal tunnel because just one of the tips has saved me over 7 million keystrokes over the years. So grab a copy of that book and implement what's in it, and you will thank me. So you can get that at screwthecommute.com/automate free, screwthecommute.com/automate free. While you're over there, pick up a copy of our podcast app at screwthecommute.com/app. That's APP. You can put us on your cell phone and tablet and take us with you on the road. Now, we're right in the middle of our pilot program for persons with disabilities. We still actually have 2 slots, so if there's any veterans listening to this, you can get in touch with me, and we have a very simple application program for a full scholarship to my school, the Internet Marketing Training Center of Virginia. It's a distance learning school. You can be anywhere in the world and take classes. If you have mobility problems, that's the point of this pilot program, is to help people with mobility problems not only learn a highly in-demand skill, but be able to be hired and work from home or start their own business, or both. So if you're interested in that, let me know. If you are interested in helping out with the program, please visit imtcva.org/disabilities. This will be in the show notes, so you can check out our GoFundMe campaign where we're financing the program, and we're also going to be using some of the money to hire folks with disabilities to help run the program. So check that out. All right, let's get to the main event. We're here with Frank Manteau, and just 6 days after graduating high school, he was in the Marine Corps boot camp at Parris Island, South Carolina, and now he's a veteran of the United States Marine Corps, and we really thank him for his service. He ended up a sergeant, and when you see his picture, he looks like a sergeant that you would not want to mess with. So, Frank, are you ready to screw the commute?
Yes, I'm ready to screw the commute. Of course, who wouldn't be whenever you're the crayon eater king and you also, play around with wood?
So you got a very interesting thing going here, Frank, with this crayons ready to eat. And some non-military people might not see the play on words there, but these MREs are meals ready to eat, and Frank came up with this idea for crayons ready to eat. and tell them about how the idea came about.
So I own my own woodworking business called Kamikaze Woodworks. And one day I was working on a project for a local high school color guard. My kids were involved in the band, and my son's girlfriend was in the color guard and stuff like that. So I always built the props. They came to me and said, "Hey, we need this giant picture frame. We want it to be colorful and be able to jump in and out of." Now, I had an art background in high school. Somebody that threw away a full ride scholarship to Pittsburgh Art Institute to continue joining the Marine Corps. That was fun. Um, and I knew that there were different mediums to be able to do this. So I figured, okay, I'm going to take a sheet of plywood, cut out the picture frame, and then I'm going to blow up the decorative design that they wanted on sheets of paper, glue them to the plywood, and color the detail in. Now, if anybody knows anything about art, paint and paper on wood is not going to work very well. I could have painted it directly on the wood, but I wanted to give it that, the actual, to where it blended and looked very nicely and matched. And, I had the lines to color in because after you haven't drawn in many years, trying to color or paint a straight line ain't very fun. I knew markers weren't going to work because whenever they run out, they don't blend it well. And the only thing that I knew that was going to work would be crayons. Now, mind you, I knew nothing about this crayon nonsense. I was new to it. I had no clue. This was back in 2017. I was mostly on social media because I had just launched the woodworking business to try to get that out there and mainly to keep an eye on my kids. So I didn't see very much, things going on. And I was working on this project and I was coloring in the giant 4 foot by 6 foot frame with all these crayons. And I grabbed a crayon and put it in my mouth and switched colors. I started gnawing on this. And I'm like, wait a minute. So I saw a couple things, these Marines eating crayons and stuff. And I'm like, I'm new to this crayon nonsense. Let me dig into this. So I started digging into it and actually seeing Marines on video on social media eating real crayons and the memes that are out there just started, I'm like, okay, I wasn't called a crayon eater. I was a ground pounder, grunt, devil dog, jarhead, you know, all those things. Like, maybe there's something new to this crayon eater nonsense thing. Let me see if we can do something about that.
Yeah, and wait a minute. So just so people know, those are all like nasty things to call a Marine, like a bullet sponge and and all this stuff. So this wasn't something that, oh, we love you and calling you a crayon eater. It was, now everybody makes fun of it and jokes about it, but still it's not the nicest thing to say. I
The thing is the greatest thing about the military is that we can crack jokes on each other and we embrace them. Don't let the civilians crack jokes on us because
right,
that's not going to be fun.
right.
So we embrace the jokes, right? And I'm like, let me dig into this thing. I'm like, okay. So I started looking and I'm like, I want to see how I can bring the joke to reality. Started doing some research, spent like 3 months digging in. And I started seeing some different things of colored chocolate. And I'm like, I wonder if this could work. So, mind you, I know nothing about chocolate. I have no clue about any of it. I know how to eat it pretty much, and that it tastes good, and then somebody that's lactose intolerant, it doesn't do very well to the body. But hey, I enjoy it. And I remember when I worked at one of my employers. My first employer is when I moved out here to California. Um, and I would recommend, and that's a story we can go into later on. But that when I took over as a store manager and the outgoing store manager was leaving, this team member brought in these amazing peanut butter truffles. And they were better than any Reese cup that I ever tried in my life. They were freaking phenomenal. And at that time, we had learned that she had went to school to be a pastry chef. So that was in the mental Rolodex. And when this idea came about in August, end of August time frame of 2017, she's the first person I reached out to. Now, mind you, she's got phenomenal work ethic. I knew how she worked, the way she had phenomenal leadership because she moved from one position up into a management position, and her dad is an army veteran. He's airborne, so she has an understanding of military experience and being raised in the military and stuff. So it was a no brainer to reach out to her, and all I asked her was like, "Hey, I got this idea. I want to make a chocolate crayon. You ever make chocolate right?" She's like, "No, we never covered that." She's like, I was like, "Okay, you think you could try?" She's like, "Sure, I'll give it a try." 2 weeks later, she sends me a video on September 12th of 2017 of her actually making chocolate right. And it was like perfect. It was like, we had to start. We spent all the way into 2017 and get into mid 2018 creating, the colors, the finding the right shapes and everything. So it was amazing, and she is a phenomenal person, and I am glad to have her on my team as not only the co-founder but is now our COO.
All right, let me ask you
And
about
her
the
name is
shapes. Yeah, go ahead and give her name.
so her name is Cassandra Gordon. Um, so and it was just it was only fitting that not only because she knew about pastry chef, but it was also a plus that she was a daughter of an army veteran.
Right, right. So let me ask you, see, when I first heard about you and this idea, I'm thinking, oh man, is that's going to be rough because all kids are going to start eating them and then they're going to get sick and then it's going to get sued. How did you get around that problem?
So we got around that problem very simple. I wanted to make sure because now, mind you, my kids are older. My kids are in their 20s now. I had younger kids, and I know how they put things in their mouths.
Right.
Ultimately, our current product right now is a novelty for the military because how we named it and what our packaging looks like. But when it came down to the ultimate design, it wasn't only for the kids that we wanted to make it look different. We also wanted to make it for the military because we wanted the higher ranking officials to be able to tell the lower ranking officials as well, which ones were safe to eat. And how we had done that is we came out with a triangle shaped crayon with points on each end. Now, there are triangle shaped crayons, but ours are a little different because ours are set at the right size for the hand. Whenever they fall, your hand naturally goes to a triangle anyhow. So we created a triangle shape. We put the 2 points on the ends because you never know which end you're going to grab whenever you pick it up or whenever you pull it out of the pocket. You just might want to go at it, or you just might want to play with it and twirl with it. And while you're coloring on one side, you can nibble on the other side. So the main reasons is that it's flat. When it's flat, it doesn't roll off the table, and you don't lose your food.
Yeah, yeah, and it doesn't fall in a bunch of stuff on the floor.
Yeah. So we've got the triangle shape, easy to grip. We've got the roll off the food. And like I said, we wanted the higher ranking officials to tell the lower ranking officials, as well as when parents do give these to kids, they can tell their children, the flat one, the triangle shaped ones are okay to eat. The round ones are not okay to eat. And hence, we don't look like a traditional crayon. We don't want it to look like a
Right.
traditional crayon. And that's how we got around that.
Now, does it actually write?
Have you not been to our social media yet?
I
Yes,
I,
it
I
does
saw
write.
that, but I couldn't believe it that you could write with chocolate. And then what
Yes,
happens to it after after you write with it? What happens to your
yes.
picture after you draw it with chocolate crayons?
I have a picture of our mascot, Lance Corporal Crunch, that we colored back in 2018 that is still looks just like it did when I colored it in 2018.
Amazing! That's amazing. And
Yes.
and I want to mention to everybody, this isn't up to our standard audio quality, but the moment that I went to introduce Frank, his internet just disappeared off the face of the earth, so he has to be on a phone now, which is not our normal. So that's just crazy. But everything wasn't, to use a Navy term, smooth sailing, right?
Oh, no, it was not, and when we came about this, I'll give you a quick example. I went through this and I had met a few people on social media back in the day before Zoom, was really big. And we were doing Zoom meetings and just getting together and having a good old time and stuff like that. I didn't have a name for it. And I'm like, what am I going to name this? How am I going to figure out the name for this? And one of the live events that we did, one of the guys ate an MRE on the live event, and I was talking with John later on, and we were talking about how what I'm gonna name it and everything else. And he was like, why don't you just call it Crayons Ready to Eat? Just mimic it after the MREs. And I was like, fucking genius. I'm like, holy crap, you got it. I'm like, sweet. So John is the guy that helped name the company. And that is where we derived our packaging to look like the meals ready to eat.
Mm-hmm.
That, of course, we all eat out in training and combat and stuff of that nature. And for those civilians that out there, there's quite a bit of them that do know what meals ready to eat are because they're getting into that craze of hiking and minimalist living and living on buses and stuff like that.
Prepper and stuff. Yeah, preppers.
Exactly. So we got the name of it, and when we launched, it was a call to action by the Marine Rapper. Um, I had no clue where this was going to go. I'm not. Granted, yes, I do have my woodworking business, but I'm still learning business, still trying to figure it out. And when I told the Marine Rapper about the idea, he called me to action and wanted me to come down to Bunker Labs and talk about the business.
Wait a minute. What's a Marine Rapper?
So the Marine Rapper, his name is his official name is Raymond Lott.
Well, what is
He is
that?
he is a musician.
Oh, he's an actual rapper. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought that
he
was
is
some military term or something.
Nope. Raymond Lott, aka the Marine Rapper. He does rap music based, with the military, and I'm a country bumpkin, so I'm from the backwoods of Ohio, and I appreciate a good country music and the 80s rock.
Mm-hmm.
But when I heard his music, I could relate to it because it actually hits you when you with your military experience. But most importantly, any age can listen to it. He has none of the foul language, none of the vulgarities,
Mm-hmm.
and none of that. So it's an all around good thing to listen to. So if you want to listen to some hip hop and some rap, that the military can relate to, I suggest go listen to him. But
Yeah, very,
he
very.
called me to action. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I was going to ask you, do you have a picture that we can put in the show notes of the packaging?
Yeah, I'll get you pictures of the packaging. I'll get you pictures of Marine Rapper munching on it, and many other people. We actually had a Medal of Honor winner recipient, I should say, recently try our products. So I'll get you that for everybody to be able to view.
All right, but everything wasn't smooth sailing. So.
Oh no. So we go down. We pitch this. It wasn't pitching. It was just talking to people and see where we're at, and it was a proof of concept. It was we made it, and not only did we enjoy it, and our friends and family enjoyed it, but this was the first time to actually see if people would actually like this. And I'm sitting in a room with about 8, 9 other people, and given a chance to try it, and we literally went from 11 people following our social media, which is just us and friends and family, to by the time I left that meeting 4.5, 5 hours later, to about 200 people following our social media. And we started getting asked, well, can we get this? Can we get this? We want to try this. We want to try this. And I was like, okay, here we go. Not knowing anything about the food industry, we decided to launch it up on our website and say, hey, we're going to start selling this. Needless to say, that was short lived, about a week and a half, because the county of San Diego called us and told us we needed to stop. And we need to call them immediately. Well, I did that. And here to find out that I was in violation of about 11 different codes and regulations. And we almost got fined $10,000.
Oh my God.
Thank goodness the lady at the county health department was very understanding. And she knew that we were new and we were learning this. And she liked the concept that we did, that she only gave us a warning, walked us through what we needed to do to get our cottage food permit. Now, the cottage food permit did not allow us to ship. We were not allowed to sell outside of San Diego County. Um, and we basically were going to different events and stuff like that, and getting pop-ups and networking events, and having be able to sell our product. So that was the first major hurdle. Then it came into how are we going to be able to make this a much larger scale. And we started looking at different options and getting into a rent a kitchen, and we were just ready to pull the trigger to get into a rent a kitchen, and COVID hit.
Ah,
And COVID hit. I felt a decline on my woodworking. The county wasn't reissuing the health permit, the cottage food permits, and we're just like, okay, what are we gonna do? So I went back to work. We went through, and we still had the information on our website. We were still posting and stuff like that. So 2020 was a rough year. Not be able to get much, not be able to get any word out there and stuff like that. And then 2021 came around, and I got introduced to an app called Clubhouse.
mm-hmm.
If anybody doesn't know, Clubhouse is a basically, I can put it as simplest form as it's radio meets networking on steroids, because you get to meet people in many different areas of expertise across the world. And there I was able to meet a plethora of people that helped me understand the need to take the business to from basically small time to LLC. And we did that. And I met the founder of a crowdfunding organization called Fund the First, that is a verified crowdfunding source for military, law enforcement, first responders, teachers, and stuff like that, where they use ID Me to verify you. And there's no chance of there being a double um, crowdfunding out there based on something that was to go wrong, or a fallen hero. You know where it's going to.
Mm-hmm.
And they also did business ventures. So I'm like, I need to raise capital because I want to take this to the next level, and I want to mass produce this. So we launched a crowdfunding campaign, and I was like, all right, perfect. Now we can start gaining the funding. So got the crowdfunding campaign, brought on another person onto the team that has been with us from the beginning, that helped us understand the cottage food permit. Um, Brought her on to help out with some research and find us the facility, to mass produce this, as well as handle some of our marketing and get things set up on our social medias. And Flossie Hall is an amazing individual. She is a mill spouse. Her husband is the Navy, getting ready to retire, and it was just a perfect fit to help us get to that next level. So we finally get to the opportunity to find some facilities, and you run into, when you're in when you're in the food industry, it's not like anything that me and woodworking that I can make and just send it out there. There are regulations and requirements that you have to have
Mm-hmm.
in order to be able to ship your product, to be able for people to consume it. There's FDA requirements, there's packaging requirements, there's nutrition facts, there's you know CF21s, there's all these things that it discourages people to start a food-based business, because there's a lot to it whenever it comes into the FDA needing to have their you know the regulations you have to meet. And so you find these companies, and some of them, like, either you're not too big or they just don't talk to you. And then you find a company, and then they're either like want to take advantage of you because they see the great idea behind it and charge you an arm and a leg. And it's a big struggle. And right now we have actually got a great team of advisors that has helped us get us into the right places, to where we're able to get our custom molds made, we're able to get the packaging made, and we found a facility that is being very transparent with us and understanding and supporting us, and to be able to mass produce this. And right now it's a matter of getting the additional funding that we need, and we're only about $16,000 short of what we need to be
Mm.
able to meet these demands, to make our first run and get 5,000 units of the minimum requirement for this facility to be able to produce this.
Hey,
So,
I'm wondering, Frank, about it melting when you ship it. What?
so that is a great question. In the cold months, um, it's not hard to ship chocolate because
Right.
the weather's not as bad and stuff like that. And the fact of where our facility is going to be located at, it's pretty much in the middle of the area. So the ship time is pretty much the same, in each direction of the United States.
Hmm.
In the hot months, there is going to be a little bit of an additional cost. And we know that the sales is going to be a little low because, the extra cost it would be to put cold packs into the packaging to keep the crayons
Hmm.
from melting and when they're sitting on people's doorsteps. So that has already been covered. But there will be, during the hot months, there will be an additional, charge on shipping for cold packs to ensure that when you get your crayons, they are the same as they were when they left the facility, so you can enjoy them.
It's amazing. Now, another question in my mind is the last time I looked at a crayon, there was a piece of paper around the middle of it, and then only the end stuck out. What is that the same with yours?
No, ours is going to be without any wrapping or anything on it. The names are going to actually be imprinted into the chocolate, um, because we don't want to have people have to rip the paper off of it. Um, when you add different textures, and there are things that are wraps you can get out there that are edible and stuff like that, and it does change the taste of it and stuff. We want people to enjoy the authentic taste of the chocolate
Mm-hmm.
when they do this. So ours are going to be straight chocolate, getting there in the packaging, coming straight to the to you and everybody out there that is looking to get our crayons.
Well, I'll tell you what, a lot of people would have, as soon as that lady from San Diego called, would have just quit. But that's one of the things about people in the service. They're not quitters. They just
Oh
go,
no,
go. They go, go, go. Now, I understand you've talked about your woodworking a little bit, but I understand that it helps with an affliction you have, right?
it does. It does. But first I want to say one more thing about the crayons. Is yes, we brought a joke to reality. We have kept that joke of all military branches within our crayon. Hence, they started calling us crayon eaters. We decided that we are going to keep the names going. So we've named each color after each branch of service.
Oh,
Now, those that are in the military, they do know we joke about each other. So we've named each color, of course, keeping jokes going because that is one of the things that keeps the morale and the support of the military going is us joking at each other.
mm-hmm.
So we have Jarhead Red for the Marines. We have Squid Blue for the Navy. We have Dogface Green for the Army. We have Flyboy Yellow for the Air Force. We have Puddle Pirate Orange for the Coast Guard. And those were our five primary colors.
You got Space Force,
Once
though. What's about Space Force?
those were our primary five colors. Since we've launched, the Space Force has been introduced. And once we are in the mass production and we are into the main facility where we can ship our product, we are introducing one for the Space Force, and we are officially nicknaming the Space Force by introducing Space Cadet White.
And you won't have to put ice packs if you're shipping them up to a space station. It's cold up there.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah, this is really great, Frank. But anyway, before we run out of time, just tell them a little bit about your woodworking and how it's helped one of the things that's bothered you.
So with me in the woodworking, I'll tell you how that started. I came from my childhood wasn't the greatest childhood in the world. Um, I can tell you everybody that mentored me and everybody that helped get me involved in the scouts and farming and learning about heavy equipment and stuff like that. But inside the home, it wasn't the greatest environment, and I don't remember a lot of it inside the home. But I
Mm-hmm.
do remember working on the farms, making stuff and building things that need to be built, and it got me to want to be part of a wood shop while in high school. And one of the first things that I made in high school was a cherry cutting board. It's not the prettiest thing, it's not the most symmetrical thing, and I still use it to this day. Um, and it goes me to show that with a good quality product, how long it can last. And that was made in my freshman year, the beginning of 1992.
Hmm.
Okay, so that gives you an idea how old I am.
Good.
Um, and I always, throughout my time in the Marine Corps, I had made stuff, and whenever I was stationed in Kuwait for a while, we needed something to sit on, so I made benches and chairs and stuff out of freaking pallets. And I was always involved in scouts when at a younger age and with my kids, and was always making things. And I knew that I had a love and passion for woodworking. And that's when I decided back in 2017 to quit the day job, um, and start my own woodworking business. And for me, with woodworking, it's a form of therapy for two main reasons. I do have Tourette syndrome, and I don't have the verbals. I don't have that. I have more of the tics and the twitches and the eye blinks and stuff like that. And if anybody has an understanding with anything about Tourette syndrome, it's a nerve. It has to do with the nervous system. It is hereditary. There's no real medicine for it, and there's not a cure for it at this time. But to be able to go and make something and know that I'm sitting there and I'm not having any issues or anything like that, and then as well as the things that I've been through and the rough childhood and stuff, and the things seen in the military and personal things that have happened within being a single dad and divorced and going through a lot of those things, is to go there and just have a place of peace and making stuff. It is calming and relaxing, and it keeps the hands busy, and it keeps the mind from wandering in other places that we don't want it to wander to. So I decided to make it as a business because yes, it's a hobby, yes, it's a therapy session, but I want to eventually, at some point in time, I want to be able to turn this into educating other veterans about woodworking and about how to help them cope with things in life, as well as bringing back family heirlooms and bringing back quality furniture to their homes, that they can pass down. And I fully guarantee that the cutting board that I am using to this day, I will be giving it to my children. And once they get places their own, they will be having their own cutting boards, that they can use forever and forever, and having quality furniture that is going to work no matter what home they're in, because it will last them a lifetime, and it gives wood a second chance to be able to do those things. So, but
Beautiful.
woodworking for me has been a massive, um, and gives me that opportunity to, make something with my hands for others to be able to use and learn. And it's ever constantly learning. I learned every traditional joinery, and I can do wood burning by hand. And I'm recently, picked up a laser engraver that I started making custom wooden dog tags. It's something that anybody out there is doing. Get your company, your logo, your business information, some extra swag, and get a dog tag. Even if somebody that has a shadow box or is getting a shadow box made, and they don't have their original dog tags, I can help them make those out of wood and be able to have that memorial and stuff like that as well.
Boy, that's some really cool stuff, Frank. So tell people how they can support you.
Well, they can support me in many different ways. Ultimately, for the crayon business, if you go to crayonsreadytoeat.com, we have things on there that are not only, because we can't sell the crayons just yet, but we are pre-ordering through our crowdfunding campaign. At the top of the website, there'll be a bar that'll take you to the crowdfunding campaign. If you pick a tier PFC, private, PFC, and Lance Corporal, our private tier gets you one pack of crayons and a custom coloring sheet. It's $25. You get up to this tier two, which is the PFC crayon eater, and that gets you a case of crayons, 12 coloring packs, and a T-shirt, and it gets you your name on our banner that we take the different pop-ups and stuff as a founding supporter, and that's 150. Or you can get our Lance Corporal tier. That is Lance Corporal Crayonator tier. It's 500. That gets you everything up above. Also gets you a custom limited edition Crayon Eater Founding Crayon Eaters Challenge coin that is not your traditional challenge coin, and get you listed on our website as a founding sponsor for life. And also, if you pick tier 2 and tier 3, tier 2 is going to get a $10 gift coin to our website. And tier 3, the 500, is going to get you a $25 gift coin to our website. And that will help us to be able to scale and get us somewhere we need to be. Now, you can also pick any donation amount that you want in there to help us that way. You can also go to our website and purchase our certified crayon eater decals. We have our mascot, Lance Corporal Crunch, as a sticker that you can purchase as well. We also have our crayon eater t-shirts available for sale on our website. In the world of the woodworking, you can find me at kamikazewoodworks.com. Now, mind you, it's spelled a little differently. Kamikaze, KAMIKAZEWOOD, and works is WERKS. As I said before, I'm a country boy, hillbilly, redneck from the backwoods of Ohio. We don't have the greatest grammar in the world. So I had to change it up a bit. And you can go to Kamikaze Woodworks. You can purchase the laser engraved custom dog tags. I have some serving trays that are a serving tray that's listed up there. I also have my cutting board that's up there that I'm going to be listing up soon. You can purchase be able to get a custom made cutting board and commission me for anything that you are looking for in the world of woodworking, coasters, stove covers, which are also called noodle boards, and anything of that nature. If you're looking at anything small furniture, home decor, kitchen decor, military memorabilia that you want made out of wood, hit me up and find me on social media. You can find us with the Crayons at Crayons Ready to Eat on most of the platforms between Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Clapper, LinkedIn. We're on Twitter, which is crayons_R_E. And then everywhere else on social media for my Kamikaze Woodworks is you can find me at Kamikaze Woodworks. And if you go to any of my social medias, you can find me at, on my main social media of Instagram and Facebook is Frank Manteau, or type in the Crayon Eater King and find me at the Crayon Eater King. Just do a search, you'll find me. And any support can be helpful, and I appreciate it. And to keep me from having to do the commute.
There we go. Well, thanks so much for coming on. All this stuff that he just said was going to be in the show notes, folks, so you don't have to worry about writing it down. We'll have it written correctly, and you can click on the stuff in the show notes. So thanks a lot, Frank. Thanks for your service, and thanks for this great idea that's it's going to go really big for you.
I'm glad to be here, and I appreciate being on your show. Thank you.
Okay, man. We'll catch everybody on the next episode as part of Vetrepreneur Month here on Screw the Commute. Catch you later.